All right, so professional development is our next topic for the afternoon, and the theme of this particular professional development module is around items that are accessible for anyone, any team, that are either low cost or free, because then they fit in all of our budgets. So I cannot say enough about professional development plans and how important they are. Everyone really, I think everyone everywhere in every organization should have a professional development plan. Something a previous leader of mine used to always say is we need to own our development. So as leaders, it's our responsibility to help folks with their development, but it's also each individual's responsibility to take real ownership in their development. And that means writing down your goals, sharing them with someone else, setting dates, and then something magical happens when you write something down. You tend to do it, and then you grow. Kathleen, what's the stat? Was it like 85%?
75%, yeah.
Yeah, 75% of your goals. You're like 75% more likely to reach your goals if you write them down, which I just think is amazing and so true. So if you can use the form, the professional development form that we have. It's on our website, but you can write it anywhere. It doesn't really matter as long as you keep that piece of paper. You write it down. You tell someone else. It really is inspiring. And I encourage people, put a few things that are personal. Set some personal goals too. It's great to always be working on growing as an individual, both professionally and personally. All right, so YouTube, more than funny cat videos. So we don't always have the money that we wish we had to send folks to, maybe an outside agency, a Skillsoft class where they want to take an Excel training. But there are more Excel tutorials on YouTube than I would know what to do with. I have taken a good 6 hours of them. Unfortunately, it's still not my personal gifting, so don't come to me with your Excel training needs. Or you do, but then I'll probably have someone else do that module. But it really has helped me get to at least a basic level of where I need to go for my work purposes. PowerPoint, yeah, I'm probably more your girl for that. But great PowerPoint tutorials on Excel or PowerPoint tutorials on YouTube. There's even great soft skills training on YouTube. So how to have effective one-on-one meetings with your manager or with your with your team, kind of either way. So those would be great. Maybe you've noticed your employees aren't taking good advantage of the time with you. You could share a YouTube video with them on how they could prepare better for their time with you so then they can really make the most of it. And you can pick up some tips too. Productivity things like how to structure your day to really get a lot done. And then best practices. So really it's just like Google. You can just search for what you're looking for and maybe you find some duds in there, but you're going to find some golden nuggets too. So I definitely encourage you to just get in there and search. TED Talks, ideas worth spreading. Who here listens to TED Talks? Yeah, so do we have any favorite? Do you guys have any favorite TED Talks?
My latest one is the lady who talks about leaning in.
Sheryl Sandberg? Yeah, lean in. Yeah, that's a super famous one. What else? Any other?
There's this latest TED Talk, I can't think of the lady's name, but she's defining the word grit as far as student retention and perseverance. She gave a talk on grit.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I have some others on here that I like. Time management, 2K16. That one's really neat because we all, everywhere, always feel like, gosh, I just don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in the day. You ask someone, hey, how are you? Busy is the response. But this really changed my thinking about time management, and I actually sent it to one of my busiest girlfriends to say, hey, I think you'd really appreciate what's being said in this video, because it talks about really, truly the hours we have in a week and the choices that we get to make with our time and how we can make the most of it. So our time and how we're spending it is matching up with our goals and our values. So that's a really great one. Body Language by Amy Cuddy. That's another very famous TED Talk, which can help people prepare for things like this when you're nervous and to come up in public speak, or maybe you have folks in your team that are nervous about speaking at a team meeting and they're not really engaging. That video is a great one to help them understand that they can do some different things with their body language to make themselves feel more confident and bring down their stress hormones. So I'll give you a quick one. You just this is a power pose. You just do this 2 minutes before your conference call. You're going to feel so much better. And I've done it before, and maybe a stressful meeting or a stressful project where you try and just lower your stress level. And so there's some good tips in there. But They're 20 minutes or less. They're great to bring to like a team meeting. So you have a team meeting, you want to have a learning and development component. You just, go to TED and they have a lot of different lists of like their all-time favorites or most popular or management techniques or different things. And you can find one that you could bring to your meeting and then have a discussion about it after. And there, it's free, low prep L&D that you can do on your own. Books worth reading, so I think it's always great to have something that you're reading to either by yourself or even you can do an optional book club with your team or even cross-functional teams, maybe with anybody who sits on this floor. Hey, we're going to have an optional book club if you'd like to participate. We'll get together once a month or every couple of weeks and we'll talk about the chapter. It's a great way to always be growing. I've seen it done in workplaces where the topic's so important and it's going to help everyone on this team so much that we will do it during our regular half an hour once a month, during our regular time. And I've also seen it done where this is on your free time and we're doing it as a part of, something you can do on your lunch break, as an optional thing. So you can figure out with your leadership what makes sense for you. But Quiet is about introverts. Political Savvy is about how to be more politically savvy. Daring Greatly, we've already talked about that, and servant leadership. It's Your Ship or It's Our Ship. I think that one's a really great one to do with teams. I did it as a part of like a 300-person book club in my last organization. Everybody in the department did it. We all talked about it with our teams. But that's a great one because it tells the story of a man that during the Navy had the worst ship in the Navy, turned his ship around, and he brought his leadership techniques into this book and told this story about how, and it's really about personal ownership. Every employee being able to say, this is my ship and I can make a difference here. And there's some really great practical things. And then the manager complement of that is It's Our Ship by Captain Michael Abershoff, or he's retired now, so Michael Abershoff. And then Retiring the Generation Gap, I've actually written a module on that. It's about generations and how we can work better together by understanding some of our generational differences and similarities. So these are ones that I threw on there. Any other great business books worth reading you guys want to share with the group, or something you're reading right now? Yeah.
There is one, Crucial Conversations.
Oh.
Yeah,
It gives you some really good tips on handling conversations when you're going to be emotionally hijacked and your emotions kind of take over. So it's a really good book.
That's great.
We do training on crucial conversations in the Leadership Academy and the mentoring program.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right, it's so good.
It's part of the Emerging College Leaders Program
Is
that
it?
I
Yeah.
attended a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's great. Any others? All right. All right, podcast, listen and learn. So anyone here a podcast junkie? I'm like addicted. Yeah, there's so many good ones out there. So if you're not familiar with what a podcast is, it's like the radio, but now we're calling it something new and cool, or cooler than the radio. So there shows that you can listen to on demand. You can download from your cell phone, or you can listen on the computer, so you can do it in your own time. Typically they download on a regular schedule. I'm subscribed to like 15. I listen all the time. But the great thing is you can be doing something else. So like if I'm at work and I've got to be working on like something that doesn't take my mind, but when I had to make all of your folders, I was probably listening to a podcast when I was printing and stapling, because then I can be learning as I'm doing something that's maybe more physical, or to the drive to and from work. Maybe you have a work trip with your colleagues. You can put on something where you guys can learn together. So typically an hour. Last summer, more like 20 minutes. They're free. They're available on demand. Some that could be of interest in your space is there's a project managers podcast. There's managers and career tools podcast, and the productivitist. I don't personally listen to these yet, but they've been highly, highly rated. I'd be happy to share with you what I'm subscribed to if you are interested. I think it's great because you can get a really nice variety. NCURA is an organization which offers learning and development opportunities within the research space. So this is very specific to what all of you do. And research and research administration. And so they have white papers, they have webinars, tutorials, publications, articles, they have conferences. So there are some free learning and development opportunities from their website, and then there are also some that cost money as well. And so you can get on their website and check out what they have available. Has anyone done anything with Encora before? Yeah?
We are members, have a membership, so if people are interested in some of the offerings, we can always get them and show them in our conference room. So we can assist if there's anything Encora related that you're particularly interested in, let us know.
All right, and Buff State has a professional development page. I think Stephanie was going to tell us a little bit about.
Yeah, this is updated, I think is it by semester maybe? Yeah, by semester, so there's a lot of things available through this page that you could encourage your employees to take a look at, that they could benefit from. Maybe you'd go with them, maybe some things you'd be interested in. But there's definitely a lot to pick from, and that's the link. It's usually in the daily, they'll say like things, that are coming up. Or you could just go directly here and see if there's anything that you could benefit from. There's like, I know we did years ago, like Excel classes, and cause if you don't use things, you forget how to, manage them, so, what other things did we do? We did, that's what we're trying to think of.
It had to do with trust.
Oh, yeah, the, Covey.
Oh, Franklin Covey,
Yeah.
maybe 7 Habits or
No,
wait,
it was,
5 Choices?
Yeah.
it was about trust.
I don't know, but they are beneficial, they're free, and, it's something, if you have your boss's permission to go for an hour and a half, it's really important to take a look at the list and see if there's things on there that,
Yeah, I was very impressed with
Yeah.
we couldn't fit, that's just the first one. It was a long, long list of what you had available.
you can't be afraid to get out there and, participate or encourage your staff to do so.
And keep in mind that UB also opens their programs to Buffalo State
Really?
faculty and
Yeah.
staff. So if you check their learning and development page, if you don't find something you're in particular looking for, might be available there. And as long as they're open to us sharing with them, we should feel free to take advantage.
Great. All right, so Kathleen already talked about the mentor and the mentor program and the Leadership Academy. So I'm not going to dive more into those except for to say that it's just really incredible that we have such an expansive, year-long program for both of these that can really give folks the time they need to really take their skills to the next level. And so I'm a huge promoter of these programs, and hopefully would love to see some of you recommend others or join them yourself. So I did want to ask you about what professional development best practices do you have, or maybe you would like to share something that's on your development plan, and maybe we could just go around the room and you can either say, if there's something else, like a category or something that we completely missed, I want to hear that, be like, oh, Jenna, there's this radio station that does, or there's this local, workshop place, we would want to hear about that. But otherwise, I think it'd be great if we could all, share something that we have as a personal goal, or maybe something, for your team. Maybe we could start on this side.
Well, for my team, it's just general leadership, because particularly our summer programs, we have about 30 staff that come on. And so everybody, my core staff basically have to supervise. So that's something that we try to develop all along, that we're all leaders in this field. So that's what we do.
Absolutely.
Like Kathleen said, I've been involved in a lot of the RF programs that they put out, and I just thought it's a good opportunity. It's here, it's available, why not jump in on it? And they've all been excellent so far. And then locally here on the campus, I think, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but there are, is it Skillsoft or Books 24/7? There's something that's available through Write, where if you're looking to upgrade your computing skills, it's all available to us. So there's some video-based trainings in there. There's some books that you can read, like the books that you would normally go into Barnes & Noble and computer type programming or software or anything like that. No, but I just thought if anybody was interested in doing any sort of computer upgrading, those are available too.
So you saying you go to the right on the Buffalo State College website, when you go in there, then they'll give you a list?
I'm not sure where it is there. I asked them specifically for it, So if you call the help desk and just ask them, they should be able to point you in that direction. It's a huge catalog, actually. There's a lot in there.
Great.
Well, myself and the few that I was supervising, we just recently moved over to sponsored programs. And prior to that, there wasn't a huge emphasis on professional development. But since we've been over, Donna has been very encouraging about taking advantage of the opportunities on campus and professional development. And tomorrow, I think three of us are going over to one of the trainings in another part of campus. So we're gonna keep taking advantage of those opportunities.
That's great.
I would say for our teams as a whole, bringing up the topic of professional development in our meetings, because I think there's a lot of people in our department who really don't know what's out there and what they could be doing and how they could benefit the projects that they're working on.
When you have a certification that you want to maintain, you really have to be aware of what's out there and take advantage of it.
Right now, one employee and I are always talking about professional development and how to, like I said before, make her a leader. So we're considering writing a grant together, considering, like I said, her presenting at the research, creativity, and possibly us writing an article or creating some type of workbook to get published to kind of, think of a better word, copyright our program to show its distinctness. So we got a couple of professional development things, but as a team, we have to do that.
That's great. That's great. Just keep going down the line.
Yeah, we're mandated every 3 years to get 30 hours of continuing education, being a speech pathologist. So we are involved in that all the time. We love attending conferences. We love, doing conferences, presenting conferences. The other thing I want to share is the professional development series that's offered by Amy McMillan through SUNY, Buffalo State. Those are really good too for teaching purposes and leadership and, hosting effective meetings and just some of the things we actually talked about here too.
That's great. Thank
Okay,
you.
now where are those? Where do we find them?
They're usually listed on the daily,
Oh, okay.
or sometimes they're emails if you connected with them before. I think we've attended one or two before, actually, but Amy McMillan was the contact person.
I think for us it's just a little bit more difficult for us to carve out the time because of the projects that we work on. So a lot of it has been a lot of more internal professional development, maybe finding a book that we all read and discuss or provide some other opportunities since we don't have this like a dedicated time we can dedicate.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, and like if there was, like your team could probably do like a TED Talk on, lunch and talk about it, or if everybody listened to the same episode of the podcast, over a certain time, get it, find the things that are scalable to your group and make them work, so that's great.
I belong to the ATD, the Association for Talent Development, and they do kind of a weekly or bi-weekly webinar that they record so you can go back and watch it after the fact. There's also like articles on there, so I found that for my professional development to be helpful.
That's great.
I belong to a couple organizations, and on top of that, I really try to, once you do one thing, you're always getting emails or reminders or things coming up, so I try to do anything that's free that I can listen to while I'm working, or things that we have on campus, anything to expand outside of also what I do. Human resources, I think it's important as an individual to grow, and always, be looking for the next thing and to make yourself a better person overall, so.
Well, I have been taking advantage of the Buffalo State professional development opportunities, but I think that it's important that you step outside of your comfort zone, because that's really how you grow. And I had to do that many times, and it's not easy, but it does give you a lot of reflection time, I guess. so. I'd encourage everybody to do something that you aren't real comfortable with.
I would just like to say that I'm looking forward to, and I hope you allow, I or my staff to sit in an open chair at your staff meetings, because I truly believe we become better at our jobs when we understand how our jobs touch other people. So when we hear what your issues are or what you're dealing with us, it helps us to better shape our organization to help you and to make what we do for you more meaningful. So I would really, really welcome the opportunity for us to come and visit and sit in on some of your meetings, especially if there's a topic that you feel would be beneficial for us to hear.
So I'll just share that the professional development plan that we put up there is just what are your career aspirations, that's it. And we have a menu that goes with it, so we give people a bunch of different opportunities. You can open chair staff meeting, you could go on a campus tour, whatever seems appropriate, but we share ours as a group twice a year. So I share mine, Jenna shares hers, and we go around the room and we share them out loud, and something wonderful happens in the universe, because you'll hear what somebody else is working on, and you'll realize that you're going to the place that they want to go to next month. And so we end up helping each other achieve our goals together. It's really nice, and we do it in January and July. So just something to think about, especially if you have a smaller department, you could share them with each other on a regular basis.
And for myself, since I started with the RF back in May, open sharing meetings has been a really important part, because the best development I could get was to sit and learn about other people, and then these campus visits being out and meeting with the campuses. Aside from that, I've been reading a book a month since I started. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep that up, but so far, 6 months in, I got 6 books, so that's been a really great thing to just keep learning and growing from a personal perspective too. And that's what I have for you today on professional development. So thank you all so much for sharing, and if you do something new that you find helpful, make sure you share it back with me.
Last time, the
report center.
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa is gonna give a brief demo of the information that we have available in the report center that's, as PIs, it's accessible to all of you about your research grants, about your dollars, about your accounts. If there are specific pieces of information that you are particularly looking for, do you need check numbers? Do you need to know if a vendor was paid on a certain date? Do you need to know someone's labor schedule or salaries, or if there's certain pieces of information that we might be able to show you how to get easily, please ask those questions, because right now she's just going to do a general overview of here's what's out there, just so you have an idea. I don't expect you to remember it all today, but know that you can just think about, wait a minute, I think there's a way I can get that. Let me give them a call and see where that particular field is. There is a lot of information in the system. It's not, it's jam-packed with just about everything you can think of. So we can, if you need a report to know how many vendors, how much you bought in a month, or how many employees are going to be terminating or whatever, we can produce reports and have them emailed to you on a regular schedule. So if monthly you need to know because a sponsor wants to know how many patients you saw, or if it's something in our system, we can send that report to you as frequently as you need it or want it. So just some things out there that might be helpful to know, and Lisa will show you how to get in if you don't know, and then we will go from there.
Hi everyone, how are you today?
Good.
Before people can get into the system, we have a form that I send you that I give to Peter to give you security access. So you can't just go back to your desk and do this if you do not have a login ID and password, just so you know. And you can have a look at this. This is the form that I usually send with little bubble tips along the side to help people fill it in. So once we do that and we set you up, people will come over for training. And what I usually, most of our PIs here, they want to know their balance, and if this person was paid Sure, that'd be great. If a certain person was paid or not, that's what they're looking for. They might be looking for a particular expense or a particular vendor. We don't have a lot of, we don't use a lot of the tabs in the system here, but because there's so much information, you can do a lot of stuff in the report center when you access it. So when you're, get your login ID and password from us, you come over and sit for training, you would log on here on the SUNY RF Central website.
And you know we're recording this, right?
Oh.
You know that?
No, she doesn't.
Now I do.
Okay, good. And
Where do you need me back?
Yes, just,
Okay,
if you don't mind,
Not
that
at all.
way we can see.
sure, you can do that. It'll be the same. So you put your username and password in, log in. It's a 3 strikes you're out system, so if you mess it up, and you don't use the right password, you'll have to get your password reset, and there's a link.
And your
Over
user
here
ID
to
is
do that.
either your email address or your RF person number. It will be one or the other, so.
Depending on when you started. If you were here a long time, it's your email address. If you're a newer PI, it's your number. So once you click on that and you log in, you can go right to the icon, SUNY RF Report Center, and click on that. And then you would go up to the right-hand side and click on your dashboards, and down here is Principal Investigator.
So let me just tell them, alerts are things that are important to you. Okay, so it can be, well, we'll look at it in the dashboard tab.
Right, we have automatic alerts that go off for our project directors. When your project's coming around to its term date, if you have active employees that are gonna fall off payroll, things like that, or when we set up an account. You'll see like Principal Investigator dashboard, and then you can see all the different tabs that you can access different information from. The one that we use most here, I find for my PIs, is My Grants. You go to My Grants tab.
They know enough about these. These are just, this will tell you employees terming in the next 45 days. It's important to pay attention to that. If somebody's terminating and they shouldn't be, you wanna make sure you take action to keep them on the payroll. So that's an important, these are your awards terming, project terming, any reports due. I think those are the important ones that people need to know about. I also ask people to look at the new person assigned on your accounts. You should kind of look at it and make sure that you recognize every name. Because you know what, sometimes people do get loaded to the wrong account, and you don't wanna wait 6 months to find out you've been paying somebody that you have no idea who they are. It does happen, rarely, but it has happened, so I encourage people to look at that one. Just make sure you're familiar with everybody on there.
And also on the employees terminating on a grant, their LD end date means they're terminating, so you'll be able to see when you need to extend
Right.
their.
The LD ends, but we don't know they're terminated until you tell us. So they'll continue to get paid unless we've been told that they are actually officially done.
So, there's an assignment and a labor schedule. The assignment is what pays a person, a labor schedule which charges your grant. So their active labor schedule may have ended, but that doesn't mean they're not getting paid anymore because their assignment may not have ended. So 2 different dates you need to consider, and it can be very confusing. So we're going to migrate?
Yes, so those were the alerts that we were talking about, that all come automatically to the project directors. So now, generally speaking, when a project director comes to see me, they wanna know their balance. They wanna know, was this supply charged yet? Was this check cashed yet? So I made these directions very simplified. These are just basically how to access your account balance and your expenses, not every tab. And you can click on each and every one of these tabs, and you don't have to worry, you can't hurt anything, it's just a look and see. You can look at different things for different ways you wanna look them up. But I usually start right here, and then I click on award. And for the project directors, every award that your name is on will automatically come up. So Donna's gonna have a huge list.
That's what's taking so
Yes,
long.
and then the longer, we should have done me, because I don't have any.
There we are.
also. Okay, so see, a huge list comes down for her. If you didn't wanna go through this list or sort this list, you can go right up to the top. Put your award number in the box right here. And just, let's see, what should we do?
I'm just gonna punch in the first one.
And then you click on the highlighted award, and then you can choose to see direct and indirect expenses, direct or indirect expenses, or both together. So if you wanna choose both, you have to click on it, and then you click apply. Oh,
Yep,
there you
sorry,
go.
I clicked, yeah.
Okay,
Oh. I did 7 minutes actually. I don't know, I saw those.
try again.
Okay,
There you go.
there we are.
So now when you get to this screen, anywhere it's blue, you can drill down for more information. There's your award name, your award number. Over here's your available balance. If you had expenses, we could click on them, but this one unfortunately does not, because we haven't had an expense hit it yet. So maybe we wanna look at one that does have expenses. Try 41200. It's got a lot of expenses on it, right, Jess?
Yeah.
So now if you go over here, you click on here. Is it circling? Try it again, okay. There
Yeah,
it
it's
goes.
working.
There it goes.
That's a long award.
Yeah. So this is a multiple sponsor account, it doesn't have a budget, so that's why you see all these negatives on this side, because they're coming off of a zero budget. But every category that's blue in here, you can drill down into to get more detailed information. So if you wanna know who's been paid summer salary, you can click on that. If you wanna know what your supplies, why don't we do supplies? That'll bring a big long list. So, and here's the detail about the supplies. When it posted to the account, when the actual item date is. The actual item date is what was submitted on the voucher or on the receipt. This is when it actually posted to the account. You can sort these columns by dragging this bar here, if you wanna sort by, yes. I know it's hard to move that little thing. I know, yes, it never works when I want it to either. And then you can do sort ascending or descending. A lot of times the vendor would be the spot where you would wanna sort alphabetically maybe to look for a specific vendor. But you can also get more detail by drilling down onto your invoice number. Then it takes you to the invoices that were paid against that vendor number. So there were 3 charges, 3 items. And this is a credit, so there was an error made. We credited it back.
So this tells you it's paid by check also. So it will tell you if it's a wire transfer or some other method, direct deposit or whatever, this was actually paid by check.
And then if you wanna go back, you'll go back to previous page, because if you hit return, it'll take you all the way back to the front. And that's my normal short lesson for the PIs, if they want. And then I ask them if they wanna know anything else, and I tell them for the monthly summaries, you can look at a monthly summary here for your projects. And the nice thing about this is if you put in, you can put it in, you can put in a date.
So if
Or
you
you
want a
can put in-
particular month, if you have a report that's due through the end of June and you need to go back and look at June to see what your account looked like, you can put June in there and get the exact
Right.
numbers for June.
You can run multiple reports if you want here. You can go back to June, you can be specific on your award number here if you want. Notice here the check marks, they're already highlighted to what you wanna see, unless you wanna see your on hold or closed accounts. Then you'd wanna click on those. So, and then these pop up as a PDF, oh, must have been no expenditures in the.
In that month. Bad example.
Right. But what comes up when you run this are PDFs, so you can just save them if you so desire, or you can open them and just review them.
You can export them into Excel if you need to include the information in a different report format. You can move it into Excel. I just, if you have a cash-based account, some people have, like the clinic gets cash-based income. If you go to tracking cash, and you can look for all your cash receipts, so if you wanna make sure all your deposit hits, you can open that tab up. You put your account number in, and it will bring you, if you don't put any dates in, it can bring you all of the cash deposits that were made to the account, or it can bring in only a specific period of time that you're looking for. So if you have a cash-based account, this is very helpful to be able to keep track of your income and make sure that it's all being recorded appropriately.
Also, when you see, you don't see it in this screen, but there's oftentimes an asterisk. And if you see that, that means information has to be entered in that box. You have to choose something. And then down here, you can type in the dates, or you can use the menu, but you have to put them in that exact format in order for it to work properly.
It's easier to use the calendar
It really is.
than to try and figure out how they want the date to look.
It really is.
Is it July, J-U-L, J-U-L-Y? So it's just easier to use the box or the calendars and select them. And the other thing you might want to know is people.
Right, if you want to track your people.
If you want to know who you're paying, you can look for a particular person. It will give you their labor schedule, information pertaining to their appointment, their term date. If you want to look at a specific account, you can go in and put in the award number, the project number, and it will tell you all the people employed on that account. You can get it by month. You can get it for what the employee distribution is going to be, the labor schedules. So anytime you're looking for information pertaining to one of your staff members, you can go in and use this tracking people. Only those people who are PIs or the PI has delegated to us the authority for them to be able to look at this are able to look at people. So nobody can just go in and look at someone else's staff. You can only look at it if you are the PI, or if your PI has said to us, Marla handles all of my HR transactions, I need her to be able to see my people, then we will give her access. But this is not something that's automatically provided only to principal investigators. So it's not like everybody's seeing somebody else's information.
So in a perfect world, you would want people like in here often, reviewing things and then using you guys as a resource if they have questions, right?
That's what I direct them to do, yes. If they have any
Right.
question, if they see something they don't like. We've already got people now that we started the alerts. Don't close my account, but they don't realize it's an automatic renewal account. They're just getting the alert. So, but they're being proactive at least by reaching out to us and notifying us that they got an alert. And then I can come back, or Donna comes back and we say, oh no, it's okay, we'll extend it, whatever. And, take care of it for them. And I've had calls about people ending also. So those are the good things about the alerts that I find are very helpful.
So if any of these things are happening, you'll also get an email saying your account's terming in the next 90 days. Terming in the next 90 days is important because you want to make sure you spend your money. You want to make sure you use it all to the best of your advantage. You want to make sure that you're taking care of any payroll issues for people who might be employed on that account that's coming to term in the next 90 days. You want to make sure your orders are closed out. So that's a really important tab. If you get an email that says your appointment's terming in the next 90 days, you probably need to look at it. You need to have a conversation with Lisa to say, what do I need to do? What do I need a no-cost extension? Do I have $50,000 left that I have to spend in 90 days? Can I go to the sponsor and say, hey, can I get a 90-day extension so I can use this money? So there's options, but they have to be done timely. You have to request the extension before it ends. Once it ends, you can't
And some of
get an
them have a
extension.
90-day rule.
So
Like you have to request it at 90 days.
When you get that email, you should look at that and have a conversation with somebody in our office.
Yeah, and you can track your purchases. If you want to look up something by tracking purchases, by the vendor name or number. If you have a V number from Carol and she's made a payment and you're looking to see where it is, you can always come into the purchasing and you can go into the vendor, you're there.
Oh, that's why it's not working.
So you can see open purchase orders, you can see a summary, you can go in and look at all the vendor invoices by your award or project, even the purchase orders, which is nice because in Oracle Property, you'll see the encumbrance, but you don't see the purchase order detail. So, and you don't really know what it is then. So you can go in here, and if you wanna click on the top one, yeah, vendor invoices by award. Why we used 41200 again, because there's a lot of activity on that account.
Try to refresh. Down at the bottom.
Yeah.
Like your no data.
Yeah, because it's not highlighted right there. It did that to me last week. Did that work?
Yeah.
Try reset. We'll probably might have to enter it again.
Yeah, I like it. Well, maybe we don't wanna look at that tab. No, it's not letting me apply.
No,
Vendor invoices by award project.
There's an asterisk beside posted date. Do you need to put the date in there?
oh, yep,
Where do you see that?
yep, you need to put a date on it.
Ah.
Peter, yay.
Yay. Someone's paying
Just,
attention.
you paid attention to me.
That's what you said, right?
You followed the rules.
Ah, we haven't applied.
There we go, that's why it was grayed out, because we were missing something.
So these are
So,
all of the
yes.
orders paid in September.
So there's your PO number here, the request. So those were payments made, each individual were made on that original purchase order, 1 and 2. And then this is a direct payment, the V number. And you can drill down into each of these if you wanna see more detail.
So what do you wanna see? What are you looking for that you can't find? Anything? What can we show you that's in here? I know, it's kind of overwhelming right now, like. But,
If anyone
okay.
has any questions, they can always contact me. And if anyone needs to be trained or needs a refresher, I'm more than happy to do it.
How do you
Just
do
email
this
me.
normally, Lisa, when a new award comes in, maybe it's a PI with no experience?
I invite them over for training, and
Okay.
then I send them the key member form, the user form, and ask them to fill that out. Then once Peter gets them set up with the security, we'll have a meeting, and I'll have them come over, and then I sit with them and I do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll sit with just the PI or the PI and their staff member or members,
Right.
if they want someone else to join and, teach them all.
Oh.
So it's very good, because then they really use it. Some of them more so than others, but that's normal, some are busier,
Yeah.
and then there's people that always use it and the people that hardly ever use it, so they get kicked out. So, I kind of warn them in the beginning, you have to go in there every now and again if you don't want to get kicked out,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna have to get a new password every time you get kicked out.
How many awards are you managing? Awards, do you think?
I have like 150 or more right now
Yeah, that's a lot.
that I'm managing.
Mhm.
I think that's around about a number of 130 maybe in sponsored and the rest being RF and multiple sponsors.
Mhm.
She's good.
So if you think of anything that you need or would like to know about anything with your grant, call us. Because we can tell you if it's in here, or we can write a report for you, and we can send it to you. We have lots of different ways to give you information. So if you go back and tomorrow are working on something and say, hey, I wonder if I could get a spreadsheet with all this information in it, you probably can. So if you're doing a budget proposal, you can take last year's budget, you can dump it into Excel, and you can go, okay, well, I know I'm gonna pay this person less, and I need more money here, so can I play with my numbers and see what I can come up with for my new budget? Can I take my salaries and add 2%
and then have the fringe apply to it and say, okay, this is how much I need, for my salary projections moving forward, or whatever. There's electronic ways we can help you with that base information that you can put in an Excel form and build on it. We'll help you do whatever we can.
Yeah, I just would like to mention and build on the analysis feature of Report Center. Is the, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good.
There's anything that's in Oracle, pretty much, we can pull out of Oracle into a report. So we can build the reports for you. You just have to let us know what it is you want. There's tons of HR information that's available. Sometimes we can marry it with the grant side, not always, but generally speaking, we can pull together the information you're looking for in a lot easier way than you probably could. So feel free to, call on us, and we'll be happy to build a report for you, or help walk you through how to build a report, whatever works for you. We're here to help you on that.
So actually for CDHS, this that's showing up in my screen under alerts are reports that we have written that shows all of the employees in CDHS. Their supervisors get a report monthly that shows their labor schedules. So they can go in and look at those monthly, make any adjustments that they need through HR, so that when the e-certs come out, hopefully the information is all correct on that report now, and they can just certify it. But rather than trying to do 3 months at a time, we've generated these reports. They go to them monthly, they look at them. It's a little easier than trying to do a big chunk to just do 30 days. So those are little things that we can do. They automatically get produced the second Tuesday of every month, and they automatically get sent directly to their email box. So just one example of, something that we might be able to create for you that would be useful. I think that's our last scheduled agenda. So, questions, comments, things you want to chat about in the time we have left today?
We just had a closing activity.
Oh,
To help
good,
close this
okay.
out. Yeah, so, just to tie a nice bow on it, instead of doing one takeaway, I'm gonna give you a moment to think about something you wanna stop, something you wanna start, and something you wanna continue to do based on what you've learned today. And then we'll just ask you to share what you'd like from that list. You don't have to. So maybe there was something in the what all supervisors need to know that you're like, gosh, I really should stop doing X because I just learned that Y is the better tip or the better procedure. Or maybe you want to start doing some new development, personal development thing, or maybe you've really been encouraged that there's something that you're doing in your work day to day that is the right thing, is the best practice, and you should be continuing to do that. So start, stop, continue is what I'm asking for. So just take a moment to think about it, write it down somewhere where you'll have it, because we know if we write it down, we're more likely to do it. And then we can go around robin and just share something from that list. So start,
We'll pass the
stop,
cookies around,
continue.
so you can have a little
So
energy.
start eating cookies.
Bring food.
Jen and I are working on through a couple of my own friends. Okay, when I said you like expand, so I'll talk to you about next week. Yeah. brought these back for John and Kelly, so they'll know what Lisa's doing. You want to tell folks about the evaluation on the learning side? Tell them about the evaluation's coming up, so talk about it. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and share. So it's great for yourself to think about something you want to start, stop, and continue to do based on what you've learned for today's training, but you only have to share one of those with the group. So just like before, we'll start on this side. So what are you thinking?
Just one.
You can share more if you want. You can share more if you want, but.
I want to start the open chair meeting. I think that's good. I think it serves a few purposes. Brings in some fresh eyes and ideas, number one, and also you can always pull from people, and it kind of lends to staff development as well when you get other people in who can give input and ideas. I like that.
That's great.
I'm gonna add the Project Managers podcast into my list. Unlike you, I listen to probably a dozen podcasts. A lot of them are for personal development or just for entertainment, but I thought that would be a good one to listen in on. And the other thing was I want to check out UB's professional development because I didn't realize that was available to us.
Great.
I think on the thing of the podcast too, I've been finding professional development to highlight to my staff at staff meetings, but I want to switch it.
Yeah.
Maybe start something like 20 minutes of professional development that they're responsible for
Yeah,
bringing
nice.
to the group.
Yeah.
And, you know, now that I've modeled how to find these things, getting them to own that and have the group start having direction about where they want to go.
I think that's great. That's great.
Basically the same as what Peter and Jeanette have said, you know, having the podcast, the TED Talks, that's something that I'd like to investigate and pursue. I really like the open chair idea as well, something that I know could add to our team meetings, but I thought the shout out Fridays were really neat.
I like the knee to knee. I do meet with my staff once in a while, but not very often, so I'd like to continue that. And I really do like the open chair, only as an observer. I don't want you to validate my opinion.
I know your opinions are. That's excitement.
Let's go in the corner.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, we missed you last time, sorry.
I'm looking forward to reading a couple of the books that were mentioned. Just to really explore that.
Book club.
Yeah, I'll try. I'm gonna try. Find time to do this, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Let me add, if there's a book that there's a consensus that people would find helpful, as an office, we can purchase that book. I was thinking about starting some library somewhere with, you know, some of those things in it, so, we can throw that out there as something we would move forward with.
That's great.
I kind of drifted off with mine, so first I had stopped reading email at 5 p.m. Then I had to refocus, and I said I'm gonna start it tomorrow. Then I have access the RF website more and do the podcast and the TED Talks. I have continued to pray. I like to continue my knee-to-knee and creating a safe space to support and challenge employees.
Thank you.
I love the open chair concept, and I just think that would be great to potentially start. The other thing I want to do is just more professional development with colleagues and from colleagues, because I think we can learn a lot from people we're already working with, but there's just no time. It seems like there's no time to do that, so I'm going to reinvestigate some of the time that we.
Yeah, so start with the time TED Talk, and then you'll feel like you have more time. You need to trick yourself into it. Good. All right.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking on the same thing, just trying to investigate more time for some professional development opportunities for some of the staff. As far as team is just trying to continue to be transparent and open and honest with staff and communicate in that manner.
I really like the 3-day rule where it gives people time to process what you said and kind of sort out if there's any emotions involved, and so I'm gonna try to put that into practice.
I'm gonna continue, doing more professional development, but also I wanna, definitely start making more time for report center. I kind of log in every day and go right past it, but, you know, just playing around more and getting more involved with that, seeing what we can get out of it, and maybe it'll give me some ideas for things we can do better.
I would like to continue these types of opportunities for us to get together, and whether it's, you know, I know you're in Albany, you might not be able to get here, but we could do things on the phone and just kind of share, you know, information and ideas.
I'm total into the open share right now. I think that's a great opportunity for all of us, and I also think that, what you said about learning from our colleagues, and you know what, they don't have to be an hour. They can be 15 minutes or 20 minutes that one of you come and share, your talents with us and what you know and learn. I think there's a lot we can learn from each other, and we probably don't take real good advantage of that. Even if it's the exchange of information and the discussion, I think it's a great opportunity, so I'd like to do more of those.
In my commitment on the open chair, I do have a paragraph on it, so I'm gonna send it to Donna, and then I guess it'll go all the way around. But I would really like you to operationalize the open chair starting today. So I think you guys will send around a note and get all of your staff meeting dates and a contact person's name and number. And that's how you operationalize it. You just share it with everybody and you say, we're gonna start open chairing. And even though you're the only people that know about it, the best problem we can have is that people start questioning it. Then means it's working, and people are using it. So operationalizing it is easy if we all know when our staff meetings are and who to contact to ask if you can be an open chair. And you may have to go into an executive session, so if you open chair the HR, it's likely at the end you can't stay for that because they're gonna be talking about some personnel thing they gotta deal with. So that's okay too, when you open chair. And just so you know, at all of our board meetings, so if we're in Albany or Buffalo or New York City, I have 2 open chairs for them, so anybody can sit in. So we can really make this work, and you guys seem to have grabbed onto it, so we're gonna help you with it. And since you work in Albany, oh, you poor thing. I know. I got your name. I mean, you're gonna be involved in way more than you want to be.
Yeah, it'll be great, it'll be great. Yeah, we have the same favorite coffee shop, so, for neighbors. All right, well, thank you guys so much for your time today and your participation. We really appreciate you having us and hosting us. It's been really great to come to your beautiful campus.